basketball. Once again, a short slate of college games, but let's go ahead and dive into it, beginning with the Golden Gophers at the Boilermakers, 12 o'clock tip-off at Purdue. The Boilermakers are minus 11.5. Total's 147 and a hook. No movement on the spread or the total in that one. We're seeing two-way action, so half a point move here or there. But ultimately, we are still at that opening number. So once again, Purdue minus 11.5, total at 147 and a hook. 53% are leaning Purdue, 52% shaded toward the over. And at the moment, the Golden Gophers of Minnesota are plus 600 for some money line cash. Now, if you like Minnesota catching double digits on the road here, it's going to be a tough one for you. They're taking on a Purdue squad who's 9-1 straight up in their last 10. They're also a perfect 6-0 against the spread in their last 6. Purdue ranks 16th in the country in home defensive rebounding, 16th in three-point shooting, and they're covering 70% of their games as the official home favorite. Now, Minnesota on their side of things, they're covering just 30% of their games on the road. They also rank 249th in road scoring and also 260th in three-point percentage on the road. Now, when it comes to the scoring, Minnesota's 75% to the under on the road, 75% to the under, taking on teams allowing 67 to 72 points per contest. Meanwhile, Purdue's 60% to the under in their games on their home court, 6-5 to the under in their games at the current posted total. So with all that in mind, I'm going to purchase the half a point, slide it down, take Purdue minus 11 in the under 147.5 in that matchup there. Next game, Georgetown at Villanova, 12 o'clock tip-off in Radnor, Pennsylvania. Villanova opened the betting as the 10.5 point favorite, and the total at 155 and a hook. And since those markets opened this one up, we're seeing steady and significant money towards Villanova in the early going here. We're also seeing money towards the over as well. Right now, Nova's minus 11.5 with the total moving upward to 156. So once again, the Wildcats open minus 10.5 up to minus 11.5. Total open 155 and a hook up to 156. 63% are leaning Nova, 61% shaded toward the under. And at the moment, the Hoyas of Georgetown are plus 500 on the money line. Now, if you like Georgetown catching double digits on the road here, might not be a bad spot for you. They're 6-3 against the spread in their last 9. They're also covering 80% of their games as the official road underdog. Now, Georgetown ranks 18th in the nation in scoring, 20th in offensive rebounding, and they're covering 63% of their games, taking on teams over 650. Now, Villanova on their side of things, they rank just 162nd in home scoring. They're also 141st from the stripe at home, and they rank 211th in home field goal percentage. Now, scoring-wise, Villanova's 9-2 to the under at home, 75% to the under at home, taking on teams allowing more than 72 points per contest. Meanwhile, 2 out of Georgetown's last 4 games stayed under the total themselves. So with all that in mind, I'm going to purchase the half a point, buy it up, and take the Georgetown Hoyas plus 12 in the under 156 in that matchup there. All right, next and final game for our college slate. It is going to be Stanford at Cal, 4 o'clock tip-off at Cal Berkeley. Stanford is, they opened up minus 5.5 with a total at 146. And since those markets opened this one up, not a whole lot of movement on the spread. Steady two-way action when it comes to the number. We are seeing a little bit movement downward on the total. That moved down to 145 and a hook. So once again, the Cardinal of Stanford opened 5.5. They remain minus 5.5. Total open 146 down to 145 and a hook. 64% are leaning Stanford, 70% shaded toward the under. And at the moment, the Golden Bears of Cal are plus 215 for some money line cash. Now, if you like Cal catching the points at home here, this is going to be a very difficult cover for you. They lost their last 9 straight. They're also just 1-8 against the spread in that same category. The Golden Bears rank 261st in defensive field goal percentage. They also rank 248th in points allowed in college basketball, and they're covering just 16% of their games as the official home underdog. Now, on the Stanford side of things, they're covering 71% of their games, taking on teams under 500. And Stanford's also 62nd in defending the 3-ball on the road and covering 67% of their games when laying the points. Now, scoring-wise, Cal's 86% of the over in their games at the current posted total. Give me Stanford -5 after buying the half a point in the over 145.5 in that matchup there. All right, let's go ahead and slide into some NHL action. Once again, a very short slate. So let's begin with Boston at Washington. 12:30 puck drop in the nation's capital. Washington opened $1.25 with the total at 5.5. And since those markets opened this one up, we're seeing movement on both the money line and the total. It's actually a nickel fade of the Washington Capitals in the early going here. We also seen movement upward on the total as well. Right now, Washington's 120 with the total moving up to 6. So once again, the Washington Capitals open $1.25. They're now -120. Total open 5.5 up to 6. 58% of the consensus is leaning toward Washington, 62% shaded toward the over. Boston's +105 for some money line cash. Washington +225 for some puck line cash. Now, Washington is 2-0 straight up taking on Boston this season. They're also 5-0 straight up in their last 5 taking on Boston, dating back to last season. Now, the Bruins, on their side of things, they've dropped 5 out of their last 6 straight up. They also rank 28th in road scoring, and they're winning just 30% of their games as the official road underdog. Now, when it comes to the total, Boston's just 20% of the over, taking on teams between 450 and 550. So with all that in mind, I'm going to lean Washington -120 and the under 6 goals in that one. Next game, Oilers, Canadiens, 2 o'clock Montreal. The Canadiens open the betting as the $1.95 favorite, and the total at 5.5. And since those markets opened this one up, we're seeing a huge fade of the Canadiens in the early going here. And as a matter of fact, it is a 30-cent fade of Montreal in the early wagering. We're also seeing movement upward on the total as well. Right now, Montreal is laying 165 with the total moving upward to 6. So once again, the Canadiens open 195 down to -165. Total open 5.5 up to 6. 57% of the consensus is now on Montreal, 66% shaded toward the under. Edmonton's +145 on the money line. Montreal's +160 on the puck line. Now, if you like Montreal on the puck line in this matchup here, they're 17-8 against the spread in their last 25. So when I'm referring to the spread, I'm actually referring to the puck line. So they've successfully covered in 17 out of their last 25 puck line plays. Once again, Canadiens 17-8 ATS in their last 25, 5-2 straight up in their last 7. Edmonton's just 1-4 straight up in their last 5. And just 3-6 against the spread in their last 9. Edmonton ranks 26th in shots, 24th in goals allowed, and they're winning just 20% of their games at the current market price. Now, total-wise, Montreal's 11-2 to the under in their last 13. Give me the Canadiens -1.5, getting the job done on the puck line, and the under 6 goals in that matchup there. All right, next and final game for the show, it is going to be Flames Hurricanes, 2 o'clock puck drop in Carolina. Calgary opened the betting as the $1.15 favorite, with the total at an even 6 goals. And since this one opened up, we're actually seeing a nickel fade of Calgary in the early going here. Movement upward on the total as well. Right now, Calgary's -110 with the total moving upward to 6.5. Once again, Calgary open 115 down to -110. Total open 6 up to 6.5. 56% are leaning Calgary, 60% shaded toward the over. Right now, Carolina's -105 for some money line cash. Calgary +225 for some puck line cash. Now, Calgary's 8-2 straight up in their last 10, 5-2 straight up in their last 7 on the road. Calgary ranks first in the NHL in rolled goals allowed, second in offensive scoring, and they're winning 73% of their games at the current market price. Carolina, on their side of things, well, they rank 25th in offensive scoring. And when it comes to the total, Carolina's just 36% to the over at home when the line was 6 or higher. Calgary, 38% to the over away from home. Give me the Flames -110 and the under 6.5 goals in that one. All right, folks, that is going to do it for me. But once again, before I get out of here, I just want to quickly remind you once again to check me out on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage. A lot of good information there, and with a documented win percentage of 71% in my last 21 basketball plays. you're definitely costing yourself some valuable information each and every day you're not subscribed to that website. Now, memberships begin at just $1.99 per month. There's also plenty of free content